Have you ever had a moment where, whether because of the way the pattern is laid out or lack of yardage, your only choice for the closure is right smack in the middle of the fabric? Cutting into fabric is intimidating at the best of times, but it can be even scarier when it's right in the middle of a pattern piece, especially if you're already running low on fabric. If you're in this situation, hopefully this video will help you. Hi, I'm Melissa Case from Hat to Hem, and today I'm going to show you how to insert a continuous placket where there isn't a seam. I recently ran into this problem when I was sewing my Bridgerton dress, but I didn't have time to show you how I did it. But now, as promised, here is the full tutorial. But first, what is a placket? A placket is a slit in the garment where the opening is. Typically, they're facings that are sewn in for reinforcement or for decoration. Today, you see them all the time on modern button-down shirts or modern pants. The plackets I use the most are rectangular pieces of fabric along the openings of skirts. Usually, they're on a seam, but sometimes they aren't. And that is where this tutorial comes in. You'll need your fabric, a ruler, clips or pins, a sewing needle, scissors, and thread that matches your fabric, though I'm using a different color so you can see what I'm doing. These are optional, but you might also need fray check, either a seam gauge or measuring gauge, and either a rotary blade or a pencil. You'll also need a sewing machine if you're not planning on hand sewing, and you'll need an iron. First, we need to cut out our placket. For ease, I line the salvage of my fabric up with the corner of my cutting mat. The size of your placket is up to you, but mine is 2 inches wide and 20 inches long. I lined my ruler up so it was measuring out a 2 by 20 inch rectangle. Then I used my rotary blade to cut it out. If you don't have a rotary blade, you can mark your rectangle edges with a pencil and cut it out with scissors. I took my placket to my ironing board and gave it a press. Then I folded one of the long edges over 1/4 of an inch. You can use a measuring gauge or a seam gauge or a ruler to make sure that you have 1/4 of an inch. Or you may be able to just eyeball it. Once that 1/4 of an inch is pressed, it's time to cut the closure opening. You need to decide where you want the opening to be in your skirt panel. Mine is going to be right smack in the middle, so I folded my fabric in half. Then I folded my placket in half, and I laid it along the fold of my fabric, matching the top of the placket with the top of the fabric. Now the scary part, cutting the fabric. You want to cut right along the fold of the fabric the entire length of the placket. Next is fray check. This step is optional, but it's great if you have a loosely woven or sheer fabric. It's also good to just give you peace of mind. You want to apply a small amount at the bottom of the slit. Once it's dry, open the slit flat and either clip or pin the unfolded edge of the placket to the opening of the skirt, right sides together. You'll notice that the bottom of the slit doesn't naturally lie flush with the edge of the placket. Don't worry about it, that's normal. Next, sew the placket to the skirt with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You can do this by machine or by hand, it's completely up to you. You want the 1/4 inch line to be lined up with the placket, not the skirt. Just make sure you catch the skirt fabric at the point where it tapers down. Next, press the seam flat, then open, then towards the placket. Fold the placket in half so it lines up with the row of stitches and press. Now there are a few ways that you can attach the edge of the placket. You can do it by machine or by hand. Unless I'm in a hurry, I usually choose to do it by hand. If you're hand sewing, you can use a slip stitch. You'll come up through the folded edge of the placket, grab a few threads of the fabric, come back down through the placket, and push your needle a little along the placket coming back up. And then you repeat. The good thing about this stitch is that it's practically invisible from the inside of the fabric and barely shows on the outside. If you're sewing a garment that has been interlined, you can grab a few threads of just the lining when you come up through the placket fold. Then there will be no visible stitches on the outside garment. The other stitch option is the whip stitch. With this stitch, you'll come up through the placket and grab a few threads of the fabric. Then you'll go right through the placket and back through the fabric. This makes the thread appear to be spiraling through the placket and fabric. You don't necessarily need to make your stitches this small. I'm just showing off because I'm being filmed. You'll see the stitches on the inside of the garment, so be mindful of that when you choose which stitch you want to use. Nearly done! Give your placket a press and decide which side will overlap the other when you close your skirt. Fold that side to the inside of the skirt and press. Now close your skirt, overlapping the folded edge and the unfolded edge. When you close your skirt, the bottom of your placket will automatically stand up a bit. That's okay. Take your skirt over to your machine and sew a line diagonally across the placket so that the bottom of the placket looks like a neat little triangle. If you like, you can also baste the side of the placket that's folded under the skirt to hold it. Now you get to admire your work. You could use hooks and eyes, or hooks and bars, or even buttons to keep this placket closed. It's up to you. And that's it. I hope this video will be able to help you out. If you think it will, be sure to leave a thumbs up and a comment below. I have a lot of content planned, including more tutorials. And the next part of the Suffragist Commission series. So be sure to click on that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to my channel. Oh, and you can check out the Bridgerton inspired dress video that I mentioned over here. Thank you for my coffee patron for making this video possible, and I'll see you all next time.